when Archie was here, was the meeting in Union Township that I wasn't at. He presented a revised and updated investment policy statement that mainly corrected the name from Ryan Beck and changed to Steeple Nicholas, and the other change was change the annual rate of return to CPI plus 3, and I think before was it 6? Mm-hmm. It's more realistic with what the returns are, and I think it was just turned in for review at that point in time, and I believe it would be proper policy if we just voted to approve it as it was presented. And I have 2 copies here. That need to be signed, but we don't have to do that tonight. I'll just forward around next week and get it back to Archie. So we just need a motion for that.
You can make that motion, can't you?
Sure. I'll make the motion that we accept the updated investment policy statement.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Anyone have any questions? If there are no questions, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Okay, then the second item in the email you should have received the spreadsheet that showed the different ways to pay group to complete our actuarial report. In the top part of it, you'll see it's the current funding method with the 3.5% salary. We're currently using the 5-year smooth market and the aggregate method, but there's also the Act 44 method and the W method. Act 44 was the act that was made for mainly on the state level for distressed cities, not necessarily that we're a distressed plan, but it's a different way to evaluate your assets. Basically, it's a 1-for-1. At the beginning of the year, we had 90 million something. It's basically our assets for actuarial purposes are valued at that 90 million. Then there's the W asset method, which is what that does is that is a measurement of your losses and gains and spreads that out. And if you're doing the W method, our actuarial value of our retirement plan is actually higher than it would be with the W method or the current method. And entry age also allows us to amortize the future cost out over 30 years. Currently, 15 counties have switched to the W method and entry age. So it's just a matter of which method we want. And what it will do is you'll also see there, I have that the funded percentage actually equates to the way that we have the actuarial calculation done.
The entry age funding, that seems to me to be the more logical.
What's that?
That seems to be a more logical alternative.
Which one's that?
The entry age.
Yes, I think it is. I think entry age and the W method currently is what most counties are switching to. In fact, most counties, quite a number of counties were already in the entry age, and I think there are either 14 or 15 counties have now gone to the W method. And keep in mind, these numbers were based on the beginning of the year when we had 90 million. We're 96 now. There's no way to calculate currently what effect that will have. But obviously, if we stay at that 96, 97 till the end of the year, the funded percentage will go up. And obviously, I'm going to guess about October, Hank will call me and we will get the current balance and he will give us a estimated number for next year. But that will only be as of that time. Come January 1st, it will be the more correct way.
And if we change to the W asset method, does it impact our lending capability or our bond rating if we would go to borrow money?
So. I do not. I don't think it will have any bearing on that. Basically, what we learned when I was at my conference at Seven Springs, there was a not a financial manager, but he was there from a bond rating company. I can't remember who he was from. And basically, one of the key factors in changing bond rating is going to be unfunded liability, because that's the big number they're looking at. So,
What percentage are they talking about? What's the break point for?
well, what's gonna happen is currently, as we know, in theory, our unfunded liability is roughly 21 million-ish. That's the number that the bond rating companies will look at, because that's considered a liability. Now, when you come to the percentage, bond companies also will look very unfavorably if you're under 70% funded.
The downsides to switching to the W asset method.
The only downside would be no different than what we're in now, is if the market has another, it's gonna be just, you know, there's no, to my estimation, there is no downside. It's, right now, it's the method, it's the best method to value our assets, and if there's another major drop in the market, as you can see by the funded method, that appears to be the one that we're gonna, it's gonna keep us not quite as badly go down in our funded status. If we hit it,
Save us $2.4 million.
absolutely. And my, you know, just my gut feeling is, if come the end of the year, the market continues at the pace we're going, I think that will make next year's number lower too. How much, I don't know, but I think it will make that, instead of it being that high number, it's gonna be valued at 73.6.
Oh, okay, that's what this number
Yep.
is? Okay,
Yeah, that's,
gotcha.
gives us a little.
All we would need would be.
So moved
I'm
then.
sorry.
She moved.
Yeah, I thought, is that what you're asking about, a motion?
No, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Well, let's get it on the table.
All right,
Motion and
I'll
second.
second it.
Go ahead.
The two questions. So I understand the entry age means we're gonna calculate,
Here, and here's what it is. Entry age method calculates the actuarial accrued liability for past service, which you can then in year one amortize for 30 years. So what it does is it spreads it out, where going forward each year you have that cost plus normal cost. Currently it looks at the total liabilities, the present value of future benefits, and subtracts the value of assets, and the results are the present,
So it's kind of loaning the money to ourselves instead of loaning it from the bank.
in a way. And what it's doing is giving us, it's spreading it out, the amortization, over a longer time for us to resolve that, make up that difference.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 So moved.
The other item I had is, I think I had talked to all three of you individually. Pierce Park Consulting does a county retirement fund study report, which will be something in a bound folder. Doesn't cost us anything to be in. All I have to do is, when Hay Group does our report, authorize them to give it to Pierce Park. It'll give us an opportunity to measure ourselves against other counties, and currently there are 44 counties that will be in that book. It will not specifically say Lancaster County, Lebanon County. What will happen is, the book will have Lebanon County highlighted, and, you know, it'll show us in relation to the other counties.
In relation to other
Reported.
fifth-class counties or just to other
There will
counties?
be one section that will relate to our side. They break it first through fourth class, fifth through, is it seventh class or eighth class? So we'll be in the lower, we'll be in that
Yeah.
lower section, so we won't be compared against like Allegheny or any of those.
Okay,
My guess is that once Hank does the report, probably in a month and a half, we should have Pierce Park report. 'Cause,
month and a half after Hank.
and that will be a good tool for us to see how we rate against other counties. The other update is, Joellen and Sally were here last year when we did this. Lebanon County, in addition to, I think, I'm gonna say 43 or 44 other counties, Hay Group filed a fund determination letter. What that basically is the tax deferred status, and the voluntary compliance program, which is wording put in the plan document that refers back to IRS regulations and things. And by going into voluntary compliance, anything that may have not been proper in the past. They don't even, it's recognized as being proper. It was filed in 2011. I heard when I was at my conference last month that the IRS is only looking at compliance programs that were turned in 2010. And there were many, virtually all retirement funds across the country were getting in on this program, so there's no repercussions. Their estimate is that hopefully we'll find something out in 2013. It depends on how fast the IRS moves on approving them. It's quite a lengthy process because it added to our plan document probably 10 or 15 pages of IRS wording. It has nothing to do really with us. It's just putting it in, saying it covers this, this, and this, and it means we're in compliance. Just the last thing, a quick update I touched on a little bit. Government Accounting Standards Boards just passed in June a new pronouncement that's basically accounting for pensions by state and local government employers. It'll probably only take effect with our 2013 year audit, but what it does is it requires, now it's going to require more reporting in the annual audit. It's going to have things like in their statement net position of net pension liability, immediate recognition of expense that's currently required, all kinds of disclosures, things like sources of changes in the components of the net liability, ratios that assist in assessing it, comparisons of actual employer contributions to the pension with actuarial determined contribution requirements, plus descriptive information about types of benefits provided, how the contributions to the plan are determined, assumptions and methods used to calculate. One thing it did do, it does not affect from an actuarial basis, but the GASB wording is somewhere in here, I can't remember, that the smoothing method that we've always talked about for accounting purposes in our county financial statement will no longer be, that is no longer a recognized method. So it says here, it also does away with the commonplace practice of smoothing the value of investments on the actual statements. So that'll probably, like I say, will take, it's to be for years starting after June 2013. It may affect our 2013, or it may be determined that since our year runs from January through December, it may not affect till the next year. But it will be more reporting, much more documentation on pension, past history, whole thing.